I know. After all of the discussion with Pistoliers, Spider Rider Archers, Marauder Horsemen, and yet Razordon hunting packs are the best quote-unquote missile cav in the game? Yeah, I honestly think so, and we'll get to why in just a minute here. Quickly, let's take a look at the builds. This is a replay courtesy of Bob Tresh, which always need more players named Bob. It is definitely an issue that there are not enough Bobs, so always nice to have Bob here. And Krokar also nice to have. You don't see him super often. He does have Hand of the Gods, which I haven't tested against the Troll Hag. In theory, that would be a really nice direct counter, but he's here. We've also got a Skink Priest Lore of Heavens, Cold One Spear Riders, some Million Skinks. This is, in fact, a kite build against Greenskins. Now, Greenskins being one of the best rush factions in the game, if not the best rush faction in the game, it's not a good idea often to face rush into them. Lizardmen used to be able to with just a giant monster mash, but you really can't anymore. And here we've got Bob going in that direction. His opponent here, Sad Therese, I think, has got Savage Orc Biggins, regular Biggins in the front line, couple of Stone Trolls, Skarsnik leading the way, Big Boss. No Troll Hag, instead we've got a Night Goblin Shaman, Orc Boar Biggins, some supporting Light Cavalry, Spider Riders, Wolf Riders, and so on out to the flanks. And yeah, right. Now, let's check out as these Razordons get set. So Razordons, 70 speed makes them one of the slowest missile cavalry in the game, yes, but look at that missile DPS, 106 damage over 10 seconds per model. They do only have 24 models, which is lower than most other missile cav, but 3 shots per volley of 24 armor-piercing damage each. 100 range is pretty solid in terms of skirmish cav. They are a forward-firing only and can't fire while moving, which is a mark against them. I was going to consider... Ooh, nice Hand of the Gods. Going after Skarsnik. It looks like it actually does one-shot one of the Stone Troll models, so that's some value at least. But anyway, I was going to have the forward-firing, missile cav and the 360 shooting missile cav classed differently, because honestly, you kind of use them in different ways. But decided that, in fact, we're just gonna call it a day with Razordons because their missile damage is so ludicrously high. They also have pretty heavy armor, but how about this counter charge? Very nicely done with those Cold One Spear Riders. Krokar forcing the blob, them then countercharging in. Krokar can now potentially turn back around, but he doesn't want to get drawn into the Troll Blob with the Fungi. So over here, Razordon starting to get set, and now they have high enough missile damage that they can actually shoot the Stone Trolls and do a pretty consistent amount of damage to them. Kiting is hard, though. If anyone ever tells you you just put on skirmish mode and AFK, that's not true. Actually, you will die if you put on skirmish mode, but Bob here doing his best to micro all of these units all across the field, and does get a little bit caught up there by those Chameleon Skinks, but no big deal. Krokar's holding the center. These Cold One Spear Riders doing a fine job here, and I missed it, but this unit of Cold One Spear Riders got a beautiful open charge on these Stone Trolls and is able to wreck them very quickly, so Stone Trolls can be a very tough unit to deal with, but anti-large armor piercing in melee is one way, and terror is another. These Trolls now getting terrified by Krokar as he goes mano a mano. Skarsnik had a pretty decent situation there. Krokar has the fungus, but Lizardmen, of course, are the only faction that can directly counter the fungus. With Cold-Blooded, it actually stops the rampage, so Krokar can then pull out of that engagement. Meanwhile, these Razordon hunting packs, look at those Stone Trolls. You see what I was talking about? Even though they have missile resistance, the damage on Razordons is high enough that they're just shredding them even as they run away here. Like, they're terrified with even a good amount of HP still. These Razordons pulling up as well. The Pawhawk Sentinels firing in. I will say, the Amexon Barbs are probably one of the most wasted Regiment of Renowns in the game, considering that you have poison missiles on literally everything. The fact that they did that is pretty bad, honestly, and I'll probably talk about that in another video. But as it is right now, things are not looking great for the Greenskins. They definitely still have some tools left. There's a lot of this light cavalry still hanging around. These Goblin Archers also, and the Trolls back from route have a ton of cap space left to be able to regenerate. So let's see how it goes. Night Goblin Shaman getting absolutely bullied by Krokar. He will be able to slink away, though. He's a pretty slippery little guy. And Krokar doesn't want to dedicate too much time to chasing him down. But here, look at this. Beautiful open volley on these Orc Biggins. one of the few kind of high armor units in this armory. There aren't a ton of armored units here for the Greenskins. That being said, I mean, I guess besides the stone trolls, that being said, the Razordon hunting packs, I mean, the missile damage is just so high that you can use them against literally anything. Like, you know, you don't have to be armor piercing, right? You can use them even against shooting other light cavalry, and this is one of the reasons why I call them best in class. Against almost, I think against any other light cavalry, they will just straight up blast them in like a straight up shooting engagement. I mean, they are slower, obviously, so faster missile cavalry can potentially try and, you know, engage them in melee, but even then, they've got pretty good armor. They deal armor piercing in melee. Don't have really any melee stats. 20 melee attack, but 20 charge bonus is also not too bad. They can get some damage done on the charge. You know, if they run out of ammo in the late game, need to rear charge something, it can, certainly. Here, this unit's already racked up 2 chevrons, only 28 kills, but got a ton of damage against some high-value targets. You can see the Greenskins are starting to recover a little bit, though. Tricksy traps here to give some extra speed and stock and unspottables to some of these other units so that they can't get blasted by the Razordons. Pretty good play there. Krokgar also getting pretty low. One of the reasons you don't see Krokgar is that he doesn't have anything going on, really. He's very basic. The Hand of the Gods is really, I mean, that's the only thing that kind of sets him apart, and arguably his stats, for the most part, are better than the Saurus Old Blood, but his melee defense is actually slightly lower. He has much better offensive stats, but he's a little bit less defensive, has less melee defense, and also doesn't have the damage resistance item that the Old Blood has, and more importantly, he doesn't have Horn of Kygor. He doesn't have the AoE attack buff, which is super important for Lizardmen, considering a lot of their units, infantry especially, have low attack, like Saurus, with high weapon strength, so to buff them up is very important. That being said, Greenskins are pulling their way back here as Krokgar takes more and more damage. Thankfully, there's still these Razordons, and these Razordons over here, yeah. Just kind of chilling for the time being, but they've got so much ammo left. They themselves can probably take out the rest of this army. As long as they deal with the remaining light cav. Ooh, a nice Vindictive Glare pops. Krokgar does a bunch of damage to him. Itchy Nuisance on those Cold One Spear Riders, who have been absolute MVPs as well, taking out a bunch of Stone Trolls, 129 kills against infantry, up to 131, 2 XP chevrons, fighting tooth and nail there to the end, allowing Razordons to fire in. Savage Orc Biggins are broken now. There are some Greenskins units coming back over here, starting to make a little bit of a push, break away some of these Lizardmen. Million Skinks used up all their ammo, though. You can see this one now chases off that Night Goblin Shaman. Very important so that he can't get another Vindictive Glare. Krokgar actually... Did he rout there? I'm not sure. He's got only 1,000 HP left, so he's got to be careful about what he dives into. There are still a lot of biggins here, and of course the fungi, Skarsnik, plus his big boss debuff. I mean, that's a really strong combo just by itself. So he's got to be careful. Relatively healthy unit. Yeah, the 8-peak Loon's almost completely untouched here. You can see Mangy Marauders as well, trying to catch up. Of course, the Mangy Marauders with their armor-piercing missiles, 360 shooting, might do okay, but again, the missile damage is just so ridiculously high for Razordons that it's kind of incomparable, honestly. Even Outriders, Dark Riders with crossbows, I'll do a comparison at the end so you guys can see, but none of them have even close to the same. Even like Outriders grenade launchers. The only thing that comes close is obviously the spicy cousins of the Razordons, who I will be talking about eventually. Salamanders. Oh man, Skarsnik getting lit up. The one downside, though, with the scatter shot is shooting a small target like Skarsnik, like an infantry lord, they can struggle a little bit. Most targets they're shooting at, whether it be a unit of infantry, unit of cavalry, or a big monster, are going to be big enough that they can make consistent contact, but characters, on the other hand, they're going to struggle a little bit, but they still will get some shots in. Most foot characters have pretty low HP as well, so it will be enough. Skink Priest here gets a little bit of a Flock of Doom. Krokgar is going to be a risky boy and dive into these Savage Orc Biggins. They could countercharge him and actually do some good damage with their charge bonus. even just diving into them. Yep, there's the fungi. It's going to enrage him. It looks like, no, he actually preemptively, while the cast is going, hits that cold-blooded. Very nice awareness and timing from Bob there. He's able to squeak Krokgar away and continue utilizing his ranged ammo. So we're going to fast forward a little bit as the Razordons finish up their thing, tossing their spines. You can see the one unit used up all of its ammunition, and only, quote-unquote, 75 kills, 2 XP chevrons. This other unit hasn't had the opportunity to use as much of its ammo against its high value of targets. Been shooting more like chaff and stuff, but that's fine. Krokgar, though, does take some damage, though. It gets down below 600 HP. He's still got to watch for Skarsnik. Those Savage Biggins thankfully get broken. Now it's just up to the 8 Peak Loons and the other Gobos. And here come the Pahawk Sentinels. Oh, nice rock drop. Get a bunch of the Night Goblins. And then, of course, the Razordons can charge into melee. And as mentioned, I mean, armor piercing, again, doesn't matter much here. But they're just, in general, that hybrid utility, the heavy mass as well. They're much heavier mass than a lot of other skirmish cav. In fact, pretty much all of their skirmish cav. Yeah, it feels a little bit weird to say because this is maybe not a unit that a lot of people use super often, and I'm not really sure why. In certain matchups, I guess, because of their slower speed, it can be a little bit tougher to protect them. But certainly, I mean, Greenskins, if they know this is coming, then they could prepare for it in the right way. Like, I think... Whoops, sorry, bumped my mic there. Maybe, yeah. Squig Hoppers have anti-infantry, but they also have decent AP and charge. And poison also, so not only would they do a little bit of armor-piercing damage, slowing down the hunting packs, they'd be able to consistently keep up with them. So maybe Squig Hoppers are a decent unit in this specific matchup to counter, but they're not a super common pick here. Likewise, yeah, I mean, Greenskins, if they just go with a mass of light cavalry, they can probably win just through weight of bodies, right? And with different debuffs and stuff, but... this is not something that you would necessarily always expect from the Lizardmen to go with a very heavy missile, sort of kite-oriented build. It was very effective here. 100 kills, even 3 chevrons. Nice symmetry there for this unit of Razordons. 132 as well for 2 chevrons. These Cold One Spear Riders definitely did some great work. 76 for the Pahawk Sentinels. Million Skinks did some decent damage. Definitely took some heavy losses, though. And Greenskins having the mobility to counter-kite a little bit, even if they don't fully know that it's going to happen, they still can bring some tools in order to deal with it. Yeah, in terms of the build for Saturez, personally, I think it's very important to have the Orc Air boys here. I'll show you why. It kind of leads into a discussion with Razordons. So Razordons, 100 range is pretty good, especially for armor-piercing missile cav. We take a look at Empire, of course, Outriders, only 200 points cheaper. Keep that in mind. Like, a lot of people are going to say Razordons are very expensive, and they are one of the more expensive, not the most expensive, but one of the most expensive units of missile cav. But they're not that much more expensive than other armor-piercing missile cav, right? Like, Outriders at 700, 33 DPS, 15 armor-piercing, and 3 base missile damage, right? With a 5.4 second reload. But even consider the extra models they have over the Razordon hunting packs, and it's just like 106 missile damage is crazy. Again, Dark Riders. You might think, oh, Dark Riders have pretty legit DPS, right? And they also have multi-shot. Actually, Dark Riders, on paper, don't have that much missile DPS. In practice, it is pretty good, because it's almost pure armor-piercing damage. Yeah, 115 range, right? Like a little bit longer, but the missile damage is just not even comparable. Just not even close. Yeah, I think Outriders are maybe the same range, maybe a little longer. Are they 130? Yeah, a little bit longer range, but if you compare to the throwing axe units, that 100 range of the Razordon suddenly looks really nice. Like, take a look at the Beastmen here. This is a unit that I think might end up going in the overrated category at some point. Again, another spicy take for another time, but only 70 range on Centaurs with throwing axes, and just in general, the throwing axe cav having relatively low range makes the Razordon's 100 range look actually not too bad. Speaking specifically about the Greenskins, in regards to that build, why it's important to have Orc Air Boys over Goblin Archers. Goblin Archers do outrange Razordons a little bit, by 15 with 115, but Orc Air Boys are 140, which is a lot more reliable. Like it means you can screen with goblins out in front and still keep them far enough back, hopefully to get get the damage done. Not only that, but they themselves, 6 AP per shot, have enough AP to fire at the Razordons and do pretty effective damage. So there's that. But back to the Razordons themselves. If you look, other kind of low model count missile cav, going back to the Empire, different sort of Outriders with grenade launchers. Outrider grenade launchers don't even have primary armor piercing, right? They do have explosive damage, which is kind of not... it is, I guess it is calculated here, but it's not primary armor piercing. For one, same range. They're very squishy. 36 models, so even a few more models. Pretty close to the same HP, but only 30 armor. They've only got 84 speed, too, which is slower than some other missile cavalry. Terrible melee stats, just like completely useless melee stats. And for only 100 points more, you get a unit that is just objectively better in literally every way. I guess maybe not against blobs of low armor infantry, but I would argue even still firing the scatter shot into blobs of low armor infantry is going to be not pound for pound quite as effective, but pretty close to it. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? Am I absolutely crazy? A pretty hot take to come in here and, after all that other discussion, call the Razordon Hunting Pack's best missile cav. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. Every time I upload, you'll be notified. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.